Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to continue on with this week's theme of multiple vocalists, which I'm still super stoked for, and today I'm actually particularly stoked for this selection here. I mean, we have Bjork, right? And just like, her stuff's amazing. There's always something interesting going on with whatever type of art she creates, but it also features Mike Patton from Faith No More. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of sold on this already. I mean, that's in the title. I mean, it's not the title here, but on YouTube at least, it says, Bjork featuring Mike Patton. Where is the line? I'm like, all right, I'm on board for this. So I get everything ready. I go over to Patreon to see if this person gave me any extra context for this request, and it says that it features Bjork, Rozelle from The Roots, Mike Patton, and some other choral singers. What? Okay, dude, I haven't heard of Rozelle since like 2000, right? That dude was all over the place with his beatboxing, but he just kind of fell off, at least my map, my radar. Maybe he's still doing stuff. To me, that was his peak. That was even when people who didn't care about beatboxing found out about Rozelle. So I'm excited to hear this. This just sounds like a wild combination, and multiple vocalists. We got 3 big stars and a choir, it sounds like. So they did mention that there is a live version that they really liked, but it wasn't professionally recorded. I listened to a second of it just to get the audio quality. It's not something I want to react to, but I will be putting it in the description. If you enjoy this song and want to see everybody on the stage performing it, it looks like the video covers that. All right, let's dive into this, see what's going on with Bjork, Rozelle, Mike Patton. Oh my God, this is so good. Let's dive in.
Where is the line with you? Where is the line with you? Where is the line with you? Where is the line with you?
That's so iconically Rozelle too. Like, even if I didn't know it, I'd be like, dude, is that Rozelle? The choir is so angelic, and then her melodies are awkward, maybe? It's not... Dude, they're still holding that chord out? Okay, we're opening up. Uh, I'm not gonna have a whole section on that. I'm just gonna say my piece right here. That ending was neat. I like the idea of fading out everything and having the choir continue on. It just went on too long, I think. I don't know. Maybe it makes sense on multiple listens, but I mean, right here, I think the song was very well paced. Maybe even a bit too quick at times. I would have liked to stay in some ideas just a little longer, and then we have this just drawn out idea. I don't know. I'm not gonna harp on that because it's really the only blemish I saw on this track. Everything else is just amazing, right? I mean, you guys heard what I heard. There's no instruments in this, right? Everything, I mean, this is a cappella. All of the percussive instruments, the rhythmic instruments, were done by Rozelle. I think Mike did a couple of sounds, but for the most part, I heard Mike as a supporting vocal to Bjork. Bjork does the main melodic lines, and then we have the choir in the background that gives us these beautiful chords. I mean, that's the whole song right there. There's no instruments. I didn't hear a single instrument in here. Um, and so, like, I don't know where I want to start with this because there's a couple of cool things I want to touch on. But I think first, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. Kind of wanted to save this to later, but it's on my mind. I can't not think about it, and I just need to say it. There is a decisive decision. That's just redundant, isn't it? There's a decision here to choose to go a cappella, no instrumentation, but that doesn't mean no production. I think this is an interesting concept because when I think about a cappella, I usually think about live performance. Even in groups that have sort of, uh, made their name as studio a cappella groups, Straight No Chaser, Pentatonics, really big groups like this who do have studio recordings, who aren't just live performers. The recording itself is still mostly raw. The voices are touched up. Maybe they are placed in different, sides of the song as far as panning goes, but they don't usually use too many effects. They don't usually have double layering where you're going to record separate parts. Um, and there's just not too much of a post production side to the composition. The production is for the sound of it generally. And here, despite being a cappella, there's a lot of digital tricks going on in here that maybe could be done live. But I mean, like Rozelle provides 3 to 4 different instruments at one time, and the dude's talented, right? I've heard this dude throw down some gnarly multi-layered beatboxing, but I don't think what I heard here is possible for just one person, right? There are some typical production tricks of placing some sounds further outside of the mix, others are more centered, some are panned left or right, but there's also at times just like 4 totally different sounds going on that Rozelle is all producing. And so he laid down this part of the beat and then that part of the beat and then that one, and now you have 3 tracks, and in the software they all get played together. But there, even at the end, I mean, I heard some of this elsewhere too, but right there at the end, it was very clear hearing the rhythmic element of the song not necessarily fade out in just a dropping of volume, which could be done humanly, but sort of compressing in, making it sound smaller and fuzzier, as if this high quality sound were now being transferred into like a low quality speaker with the volume turning down. As well, sort of this parallel movement there. Maybe, maybe this one's possible. Maybe Razel, I mean, the dude's a beast when it comes to making sounds, so maybe he's possible. But from my perspective, it sounds like we have some digital manipulation going on there. I think it was about 2.5 or 3 minutes into the song, there was a buzziness going on with Bjork's delivery. And it almost sounded like her vocals were being turned into like electrical noise, creating this staticky element to the delivery of it. Again, a digital effect. I just think it's very awesome to hear a cappella mixed into the world of digital here. Um, it's just something I don't think I've heard too much of. A cappella typically gets associated with acoustic. And it's very cool to see this. I love it. If there's anything else like this, Bjork or another artist, please let me know. I would like to hear more of this. I just think it's a very cool thing because, like, at the end of the day, right, electronic music is about discovering sounds, at least to me. Because the compositional side, the production side, the structure side, all of that is pretty much the same in any genre. But with electronic music, I mean, unless you're like an avant-garde acoustic guy who's like making his own instruments, right? That's I guess would be the parallel for the non-digital world. But in electronic music, you have infinite potential for sounds. You can make anything you want as long as you're willing to experiment, or maybe you just have that knowledge, right? You've spent years noodling with synthesizers, and you can just start exploring in directed ways, knowing what you want, a sound in your head, and being able to hone it in. But a lot of it is about making that sound. Um, and I think this is a pretty cool marriage of that, of saying, look, we have these human voices, but we don't have to stick to these human voices. What if we manipulated them some way? What if we did this to them? What if we did that to them? And I don't think this song necessarily goes as far as electronic music can, but it's an interesting first step, I think, to take a cappella and remove it from that pure acoustic foundation. So I'm on board for that, totally. I thought that was awesome. You just, like I said, you don't get to hear that too often. Now, dude, the layering here. Let's start with the harmonic layering, right? The choir in the background. Those chords are gorgeous. All of them just angelic. So much like feelings of lightness, weightlessness, purity, brightness. They're very feel good at all times. They are awesome in the original definition of awe. It's just wonderful to listen to everything that's going on there and to think that that's the backdrop of the song. What I found compelling about this is that Bjork's melody that gets overlaid on top of this is anything but awesome and beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful in its own way, but it's not this traditional feeling of awe. It's eclectic. It's sort of unwieldy at times, both harmonically and rhythmically. It's difficult to follow. Harmonically, it explores some darker tones. It doesn't really feel like it matches up at all with this angelic choir, and I find that division between the two, like I said, compelling. It made me want to dive further into the song. It really made me want to stick around. Are they going to resolve this schism or not? They don't, really. The only time we really find that harmonic cohesion is at the end of the song when Bjork stops singing and we have just the choir. I don't know how to interpret that yet. It's just that it's a schism. There's a division in the middle of the song between these darker, more awkward rhythmic ideas and this pure harmony in the background. And that's evocative right there. I don't know what it means. I want to know what it means. So I love that. Um, just going back to the rhythmic idea, right? This is cool. Speaking about layers here, we kick the song off. We got the choir in the background, right? They're not really giving us any rhythmic information. They change chords at set moments. I don't know how long that is. I never really caught a beat at the beginning of the song. It took a while for me to get into the groove of it. After that, we were definitely in a 4/4, and I stopped thinking about the chordal length. But it was probably like, I figure like 2 bars per chord or something like that. No rhythmic information from that, really. But then you get Bjork's melody line, and it's obtuse. We get where is the line, and then we get where is the, and then we start line, and we kind of run it up and run it down, going, jumping up the chord and coming back down the chord. And both of these are differing lengths of phrases. The next time we start the next sentence she sings has its own phrase as well. It's rhythmically quite obtuse. It's difficult to get a grasp on. Like I mentioned at the beginning, it's unwieldy. It really isn't until the beat comes in solidly at like 45 seconds into the track that you can start to feel the groove, because what she's singing is rhythmically, it's not really defined in any way. I mean, you can give it in the groups. What is the first sentence? Oh, that's like, 4 beats. What's the second sentence? It's like 3 beats, and then like an extra 3 for the run. So now we have like 4 and then 6, and it's complex. I could probably count it out if I, just sat down, had a piece of paper and did it, but for a first time listen, I never really caught on to what the pulse is of that melody. And of course, once the beat comes in, you can just get that steady 4/4 going on too. It's a really groovy song afterwards. But this is what I'm talking about with layers. She continues to use this awkward phrasing on top of this solid 4/4. There's a schism there as well. The palatable versus the eccentric. But what I think is even cooler is that at certain points in the song, these multiple layers of rhythmic ideas, because Mike comes in with his own rhythmic pattern towards the beginning too, but there's a point in the song where everything just kind of clicks. Everything locks into Razel's 4/4 groove, and it just works. And then it splits and scatters again, and you have this multi-layered rhythmic idea. I love that push and pull. It's very cool. It keeps the contrast high, it keeps the song interesting, and it provides narrative too. We have a singularity, a forming together and then a splitting apart. We have, could be isolation, could be individuality. There's a lot of things to read into this, or a lot of ways you could read into it. But this idea of joining for a whole and splitting out for the individual ideas, and like the individual ideas aren't even necessarily isolated either, because they do stack on each other in interesting ways. It's not anything that I feel disrupts the song. It's like good counterpoint coming out of strong harmony. We did have 2 melodies doing the same thing. Now we have 2 melodies doing different things that support each other. And that's what's happening here rhythmically. The rhythms are still supportive of each other, even if they're doing their own thing. But all of this loops into something interesting. I'm asking myself, what's the beat? What's the groove? What's the harmonic identity? Why is there so much division in here? It's easy to get lost in the song in some parts. Like I said, once the beat really drops during that second verse, you don't really get lost. You just kind of go with the groove of it, right? It's really easy to just move your body. But I mean, that first minute or so, kind of getting lost, trying to figure out where things are. Might even be trying to figure out where the line is. Now, I think technically no one's really looking for where the line is as a listener, but the idea of searching for something, trying to find it, and feeling lost in the labyrinth, I think that the feelings of wandering are built into the music here, and I'd wager we're going to find something like that in the lyrics, simply because the title is about searching for something. But it does. The song ends up feeling very labyrinthine, especially at the beginning, before things have really solidified into at least a rhythmic groove. Harmonically, it's still kind of separated throughout, but we get a rhythmic groove there in the middle. But I mean, it's difficult to see how everything slots together at times. There's definitely parts in here where I was wondering, where are they going to take this? Because I don't even know where we are. How can we go from so? How can I even anticipate going anywhere when I don't know where here is? So I really enjoy all that. This is just a very cool song conceptually. It's a cool song compositionally. It's a cool song sonically, just the way it sounds. Even if you don't know theory, just listen to it, and there's something evocative about it. It's unusual. I mean, it's Bjork's type of art pop, right? But I think she does a great job at finding things that can be both eclectic and palatable, and I think that's her biggest strength as an artist is taking odd ideas and creating them digestible for an average-ish listener. I don't know if you're going to get your average Taylor Swift listener to really enjoy something like this. It is a bit more complex, but I do think on the whole she takes avant-garde writing and wraps it up into a nice package. And I think this is a perfect song to showcase that because, if you asked me to transpose this, dude, I'd be here a while. Honestly, there's a lot of layers going on, there's a lot of complexity to it. It doesn't necessarily sound like that on the surface, especially if all you hear is the beat and the melody. Yeah, the melody's a little odd, but it's not that much depth to it, but there honestly is. And she just does a fantastic job of finding that line to walk. I didn't intend to go that route, but we're gonna stick with it. It's a title pun. It works. Let's dive into some lyrics on this one and see what's going on. All right, two things here. One says that this song uses edited beatbox vocals from Razel, which I already commented on, but it says that it stands in opposition to track 6, Who Is It, in which Razel records the beatbox vocals as one take. So if you want to hear Razel doing what he does by himself, maybe go check out Who Is It. I might end up doing that myself after I'm done with this, just because I'm a fan of the guy's beatboxing. But it also says that besides Mike and Razel, Gregory Pernhagen was also on this track. He is known as a human trombone. And honestly, I thought some of those sounds I attributed to Mike originally in the analysis segment. I guess that was Gregory. So Mike just did the backup vocals. Oh, he might have also done, there was some heavy breathing, like rhythmic inhale and exhale going on. That might have been Matt or Mike. That seems like something he would do. um, but yeah, I think I actually heard less of Mike than I expected for this song featuring him. Either that, or I have no idea what I should have been listening for regarding him. Like I said, I heard him do some backup vocals, some harmonies with Bjork, and he did like a secondary vocal track that was left panned for a little bit on that second verse, but other than that, nothing that I think I could attribute to him specifically. To me, this should have been featuring Razel. That dude's DNA was all over this track. I mean, he's the heart of the groove. You can't go a second of this track without listening to him. Lyrically, though, the chorus, "Where is the line with you?" said 4 times per chorus. We hear the chorus 6 times. That is bonkers. That's just, it's crazy. I never picked it up, right? Usually, if there's a chorus that's played 6 times and be like, okay, I'm over this. I've heard this so many times. So there was either a bit of variation going on, which I think there was. I split the song up into, I say the opening verse was the beginning. The second verse was when Mike's part came in, but I actually think that's wrong. I split the song up into about 3 parts. And given that there are 5 verses and 6 choruses, I almost wonder if the first part is the first 2 verses and the first 2 choruses, and then musically we shift for the next 2 verses and the next 2 choruses. I'd have to go back and listen to the song again, because when I listen to music for the first time, particularly analytically, like I do for the channel, lyrics are just not a part of my mind. When I talk about structure and how a song is built, it's pretty much based upon rhythms, harmonies, and melodies. When the song musically changes, I view that as a new part. And so the structure of the song from a lyrical standpoint can be very different than that, because I'm not necessarily listening to the lyrics that much. So, anyways, we have a few verses. They are all incredibly short, 4 lines each. Sometimes each line only has 4 or 5 words to it. Verse 1 says, "My purse wide open. You ask again. I see the crime and cash into accounts everywhere." Verse 2 says, "I want to be flexible. I want to go out of my way for you, but enough is enough." So verse 1 just says, well, I mean, literally it says, "My purse is open." But I think it's just that, I have resources. I'm willing to help you. I have helped you in the past, right? But I see what you do. I see the crime and the cash that you have that you put into accounts everywhere. So you can take that literally if you want to go along with the purse idea, but I like the metaphorical side of it is that, I've seen you take what I've given you out of goodwill and seen you pervert that and warp it into ways that I didn't intend when I said you could use this of mine. Um, and I see that you're not necessarily doing things that are going to benefit you, where maybe you don't have to lean on me tomorrow. Verse 2 says, I want to be flexible. I want to help you, but enough is enough. That's the final line of verse 2. Verse 3 says, I'm elastic. I want to go out of my way to help you. Verse 4 says, I want to have capacity for you, to be elastic for you. And verse 5 says, I'm elastic for you, but enough is enough. As you can see, there's a lot of repetition in here. I think it's the first 2 verses that have the most amount of unique lines. After that, we recontextualize or reuse lines from other verses. The idea here, though, is that we have somebody who is more than willing to help another person, but after helping them for the 30th, 40th, 50th time, you're not really helping them anymore, are you? They're not learning to be self-reliant. They're leaning on you. They know that any problem they have, you'll be able to fix. And in order to help them build character and build self-reliance, you got to cut them off. You got to make them work for what they need. And that's what this song's about. I've done what I can to help you, but what I'm doing doesn't work anymore. So there is no line anymore, right? It's not like, at this point I'll stop asking for help. It's like, where is that line, right? Where's the line you drew in the sand? She can't find it because this person keeps moving it. And so she's done. That's what the song's about. So I can kind of see a little bit of that tension there. The angelic part of the choir is probably her goodwill, but the darkness in her melody, and the obtuse rhythmic ideas, that feeling of being lost. It's this searching. When are you going to be able to stand up for yourself? Well, musically, it's hard to find, and I think the lyrics lean into that too. It's not going to be something she can find. Maybe not the most cohesive Bjork track I've heard, but there's definitely a lot of thematic parallels between the music and the lyrics, and honestly, at the end of the day, the song just sounds fantastic. I don't care how well it lines up with the lyrics. I'm here for this. So, these are my thoughts. Bjork, Mike Patton, Rozelle, and who's the Mr. Trumpet Man? Gregory Pernhagen. Yeah, and the choir. Did they? It says the Icelandic choir. I don't know if that is like a proper one or just like it's a choir from Iceland, and the annotator just put the there. But yeah, these people, fantastic. I absolutely loved all of this. So, oh, this is interesting. Bjork, 2004, with an interview with XFM. The vocals on this track aren't actually that manipulated, but they're edited a lot of chopping. The sounds that probably sound most synthetic are actually Rozelle just doing those crazy noises. Dude, that guy, he's a beast. All right, I firmly believe that Rozelle getting shot up into the spotlight, where even like me, who I never knew anything about beatboxing. I heard this guy on like, I don't know. I don't remember where I first heard him. I remember he used to do the Sprite remix commercials. I mean that sound's always going to be stuck in my head, but I knew about him before then too. My sister showed me something about him. But anyways, yeah, like I learned about him, and I was like, beatbox was never on my radar. And the beatboxers today are just bonkers, and I honestly think a lot of it is owed to people like Rozelle just really pushing the limits of sound. But we did a lot of editing. We would get the noises and then place them in the track. Yeah, see, this is just awesome. She's talking about all the ways that it was edited, but not necessarily manipulated. And that's what I'm talking about with this, right? Finding new sounds as a producer and making music with them. And that's what electronic music is to me. And here, you don't need a synthesizer to do that. You got Rozelle, the human sound maker, and he's going to give you all the sounds you need, but you can still experiment with how to tweak them. And I think that's awesome. All right, now this wraps it up. Those are my thoughts on where is the line with all of these fantastic artists in it. What do you think of this song? Is there anything that stood out to you? Anything that you would like to add on to what I said or correct me on? Maybe you have your own opinion, thoughts, perspective, or interpretation on this. Please put all of that down in the comment section. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. Takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today, but I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.